So,
Morning, ma'am.
good morning again.
Wala-wala ko mabay kay hinay yung
Good
signal, ma'am.
morning, ma'am. It's okay. So, let's go back. Energy plays a key role in chemical process. We call that energy that will make the reaction starts as the activation energy. So, the energy in the chemical reaction could either be endothermic or exothermic. Now, let's look into this lab experiment. Teacher 1 gave Sam salt A, while uh, teacher also gave salt B to Julie. They both add it in the water. After they add it in the water, Sam fills the water or the mixture of the salt A and water cold, while Julie felt that the water and the salt B after they mix felt so hot. So that they asked their teacher what happens. Why did the flask turn cold for Julie and why for Sam, and why does the flask of Julie turn hot? So the teacher says that that is because the two given salt are different. One of your salt generated an endothermic reaction with water, while the other salt generated exothermic reaction. So to make it short, when we say endothermic, we add energy to the chemical reactants. So the reaction, for it to proceed, it uses the energy. That's why the reactant has a higher temperature compared to the product. Kaya gi-consume sa reactant ang energy. While exothermic on the other hand, ang imuhang chemical reaction, say for example, kanang water o ang detergent, pag add nimo karon si detergent nag-release og oxygen. So kay nag-bubbles man siya, nag-release man siya energy. So nadugang tong gi-release nga energy pag break ni oxygen sa molecule sa detergent dito sa product. So, nag-produce ang chemical reaction of energy instead of using the energy, ang iyang gibuhat, nag-produce siyang energy. That is what we call exothermic reaction. So, in exothermic reaction, the reactant has lesser temperature compared to the product. While endothermic reaction, the product has a higher temperature compared to the product. So reactant has higher temperature compared to the product for endothermic. Exothermic, reactant has lesser temperature compared to the product. So it means at the end, it releases heat. Parihanin niya. So we have ammonium nitrate plus heat will have ammonium and nitrate. So, gibungkag niya si ammonium o si nitrate. So, para mabungkag siya, nagamit siya heat. So, kaya nagamit naman niyang heat, pag-abot sa iyang product, less na lang ang iyahang heat energy presence. While here, calcium chloride and water, si calcium, gibungkag niya si water na yung calcium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. So tungod kay nagbungkag siya, nag-release siya og energy. Mo nang at the end na siya heat nga na-produce. And that makes your chemical reaction exothermic. Now, how does a chemical reaction occur? There are two ways how or there are two ways that affects the chemical reaction. We have the collision theory and we have the presence of the catalyst. So when we say collision theory, ato na siyang ma-summarize in this particular diagram. So if your reactant bumps kay may collision, meaning nag-collide, nagbangga. So pag si reactant o si reactants, nagbangga sila in a very slow motion, ang tendency nila mag-bounce lang sila. So, dili maka-chemical reaction. If the reactants not facing right to each other, pareha man ni silang color, meaning pareha sila nga atom. So, kay pareha man sila, they do not entertain each other. So, no reaction still happens. Pero if the energy is appropriate, enough ang energy, enough yung speed, tama po ang iyahang orientation sa chemicals, then chemical reaction is possible. So, maura na siya ang collision theory. Pag sakto yung angle, tama ang mga nagbangga ng mga molecules, then chemical reaction is possible. Nindot ang ilahang pagkabangga kung si Sir Omar pa.
Yes, sir.
Yes, nindot ang pagkabangga. Nice ang angulo. So, dili ra day selfie-selfie sa groupie-groupie na angle. Pati sa pag-form sa chemical reaction. So the more pas-pas ang movement sa imuhang molecules, the more pas-pas ang chemical reaction. So the presence of a catalyst increases also the rate of chemical reaction by lowering its activation energy. So again, the activation energy is the energy needed for a reaction to occur. Kung naay catalyst, instead nga diriyahang activation energy, yung buhaton, i-lower niya. So, mas mapadali ang chemical reaction. So, instead nga daghan kayo siya gadtuan to proceed the chemical reaction, parehani, catalyst ni si C. So, A plus C, and then at the end, nagihapon siya C. So, instead nga, daghan kayo siya gadtuan, mas mapadali ira kung naay catalyst. Mas ubos ang chemical activation energy nga adtuan sa imuhang chemicals. So, dirita. This is a picture analysis. So, nanatay idea unsa ang collision theory, di ba bangga-bangga sila? Collision good. So, based on the idea in the collision theory, how do you think concentration affects the rate of chemical reaction? Based sa picture. Ang sa'yo napansin sa picture. Kung lower concentration, gamay ra silang magbangga. So the possibility of chemical reaction is lower. If high ang concentration, their possibility to collide is higher. So therefore, their probability to react is higher. So concentration affects the rate of chemical reaction. How about the particle size?
Kung gamay siya.
Wala pa mo nag-answer, ani, no?
Wala pa, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Na lang, ma'am.
So, kaya kung siyang gi-answeran, dili na mo mag-answer, ani niya.
Dagan ito na sa ubos, ma'am. Dagan kayo, ma'am.
So, kani siya,
Kato na buak-buak siya.
kani siya, isa ka buok siya, di ba? Then, na nag-react. So, dapat mahuman pa rin niya mga gilid o bangga-bangga para mahurot niya. So, it will take a little more of time. While kung nagagmay siya, mas daghan ang na-expose nga area sa imuhang reactant, mas dali ang ilang interaction. So, the particle size also affects the...
Parehara ko ng galuto kag karni.
Kung dagkoon ni mag-slice,
Kung dako kay
maluto.
okay.
Oh, mo nang kabantay mo anang mag-beef steak sila. Aside sa flat siya,
Yes, ma'am.
tukod kagid nila para mas daghan ang surface nga ma-expose sa water to make the interaction faster. So,
Ma'am,
yes.
mag-answer may lesson 1, ma'am. Kaning naman gano'n, ma'am. Parang
Wala
ulit,
pa,
ma'am.
ulat lang. Kadyot
Ulat lang,
lang
ma'am.
ulit, Carix, ha? So, temperature. Pag cold siya, di ba kaganina, kung balikan ko sa collision theory, if the movement of the reactants are very slow, they will just bounce to each other. So, kung cold siya, ang probability of making or having a chemical reaction is very slow. So gamay lang kaayo kung naka-cold bath. Sabot pa sabot ang imuhang gipang react, gibutang nimo sa ice. Pero i-hot bath or warm bath nimo siya, butang nimo siya sa init tubig, then their energy will increase. Diba mas maglihok-lihok? Pareha gud anang ikaw, naligo ka sa dagat. And then, nagtingiil ka. Udtong dako grabe ka naman swimming. Karon gitawag man ka kay pauli na kay untunan dako pagtong na kay kasangatanan. Ending wala kay tsinelas. Unsaon nimo paglakaw karon didto sa sand.
Murag
Paglakaw
pato.
baka burag si model
Magdali-dali, ma'am.
Oh,
Murag
di ba
pato.
perfect sa kita sa tiil dan. So dapat magdagan-dagan di ka. So yun ana po
Kamot
mga
tag siminto.
particles.
Sakit kayo.
Patay
Kaya
yan.
po sa particles, kung mainitan sila, mudagan sila kusog. We call it the kinetic molecular energy. So it means that the energy, the moving energy of a particle increases when you increase the temperature. So kay paspas man ang ilang movement, so mas paspas sila magkulay. So mas taas ang probability of chemical reactions. The rate of chemical reaction increases. So now,
Kung taas ang temperature, mas kusog ang kulay.
yes, itaas man ang ilahang kinetic molecular energy or their energy in motion. So mas dali silang maglihok-lihok, mas paspas ilang lihok. So kay mas paspas man ang ilang lihok, therefore, mas tagahan ang tendency nga mag-collide sila. So kay taas man ang tendency nga mag-collide sila, the tendency of chemical reaction to occur is also higher. So now you have to answer, tell me what you know, pass it on, and then also this one, pass it on our Google Classroom. Hello, Joy. Nahuman namin, no.
Yoy.
Karona, ma'am.
Dili. Friday.
Monday.
Ayo, uy.
Monday
I will
din.
give you until
Friday.
Wednesday for this. Wednesday.
No,
Gamay ra kay
Ilang
na siya sa ngatanan o gamay ra kay na.
Ma'am, di ba mi bright, ma'am?
Oh,
Di ba mi
Haman
bright?
ani ma'am, haman ani.
Ma'am, Diyos
Sugod dira, ma'am.
Uy, napatay
Friday na lang.
to entertain. So dapat kanilang tell me what you know and then what I can do. So A, B, C, and D. Basta malipat mo na, D dira. The
Sulat
rate
mo
of
na mo
chemical
sa paper.
reaction, what are those factors? Yes.
Ma'am, isulat gyapon ni sa papel.
Nga factor, paminaw sa mo. Ang gimina ni nga factor kay ang kaning collision theory. Kaya tulo man ni sila kabok, di ba?
Particle,
Particle
temperature.
size, and mo na siya inyong ibutang din yan. Then you provide example.
Okay.
Kanang mga chemical reactions that involve
Situation, ma'am. Mag situation.
Situations,
Hatag mo
yes,
situation.
of course.
So, ipang-mention ni mo, ma'am, pwede na may butang.
No. Naman ba? Nga kanang kuan example. Like you have really a
Okay.
chemical reaction.
Ma'am, depende ra na mo, ma'am, kung ibutang na mo o Google Docs or isulat.
Ipapass na lang ninyo sa inyong mama. Ibutang na lang
Wednesday?
siya. Dili, next week. So,
Okay.
ibutang na lang siya sa yellow paper.
So, dili na lang may mag-kuhan, ma'am.
Dili na lang sa Google Classroom.
Okay, ma'am, mag-listen ka check sa Google Classroom.
And
Sakit
then,
yun na sa mata.
kaya na may
Monday siya
additional
ibabas, ma'am.
activity. Of course. Na additional activity, so I will post it on Google Classroom tomorrow.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Okay.
nakoy pa ko na.
Yes.
Nakaiuli nga module karon? Or next week ra?
Notebook lang ang iuli. Notebook ran.
Bayo ra?
Bayo lang. And then please,
Okay.
kung inform kay Casino na wala siya nakakuha sa Understanding Culture,
UCSP.
Society, and Politics kay mo pa'y pag-abot. Kita man jud mo pa'y pag-abot. So,
Oo,
next
ma'am.
lesson for tomorrow, pinakadali. Types of chemical reactions.
My favorite.
My favorite. Yes. So, it's a love story. So, kay pwede pa man with
Decomposition.
Ato na lang siya. Answer this answer this. All you have to do is identify what are the reactants and what are the products.
Masaya na.
Answer that, we pass on Monday. So what is a chemical reaction? So a chemical reaction is a combination of substances
Reaction.
arranging their chemical structure, and then you have a new product or a new substance as a result of the interaction. We call it the chemical reaction. The chemical reaction is presented in a chemical reaction equation where you have your reactant and the product. So there are different types of chemical reaction. Actually, a chemical reaction is a love story. So there ka na siya, yes. If you have one that say hi to someone and that someone says hello, and then they build the connection, and that connection is what we call bond. It's either a ionic bond or a covalent bond. So we have one particular substance saying hi to the other substance. That is combination because you put them together. That's why you have your
Kumbaga
A
nag-meet.
plus your B is
B.
equal to your AB. Sila ang tinadhana. Pero sometimes, kahit kayo ang tinadhana, may tinatawag tayong pinagtagpo, pero di tinadhana. Pinagtagpo na sana sila, kaso lang,
Let's go.
you read na lang the examples there, ha?
Yes.
I will just introduce the concept. Na pinagtagpo sila, pero may mga circumstances sa paligid na pinaghihiwalay sila. It's either the energy or the environment. So, it's either inside the relationship or outside.
Na parental na ang mga parental.
Oh,
Parang di
pwede na
gusto
siya.
sa parent.
So, hindi na sila nagkakaintindihan. They need to separate their ways. So, we call
need
that
time.
as the decomposition reaction, where the compound breaks down. So,
Okay.
break apart.
Wala nagkasinabot, maong nagbulag.
Pwede
Mamasakit
na siya.
ang musunod ana. Mamasakit ang
Oo.
musunod ana.
Sometimes, the breakup is caused by a person. So, it's either a man na kiyat-kiyat sa relationship or the woman that kiyat-kiyat sa relationship.
Yan, ma'am.
Agad!
Ma'am, nga
Ang
pareho sila na
isa man ni kiat, we
Nakana-
call it
Nakanay masakit. Kanay masakit.
replacement reaction.
Kanay masakit.
Oh. Now, dili
Lisdan ka.
basta-basta ang mupuli. So, na requirement before ka makapuli. So,
Dapat maayo mo luto.
dapat na requirement.
Maayo mo laba.
So, dapat mas
High standards.
Pero depende siya. Say, for example, ang metal ang iyang pulihan. Kung metal ang iyang pulihan, dapat less
Metal.
ang iyahang electronegativity value. Dapat mas ubos sa naa na dito sa compound. Pero kung non-metal gani siya, dapat mas taas ang iyang electronegativity value
Negativity.
compare sa naa na dito sa imong compound. Pero
Ana, jud na.
dili ni siya applicable kung ang nasa imong compound nga iyaha dapat ilisan kay oxy anion or polyatomic anion or polyatomic cation. Mukuan lang ni siya, applicable lang ni siya for metal and non-metal. Again, kung ang metal mo puli sa another metal, dapat
ang
kay
value.
ubos ang iyahang lower electronegativity value pag metal. Again, pag metal, lower electronegativity value. Pag non-metal, it should have a higher electronegativity value, meaning mas taas ang iyang ability to attract electrons. So that's why you have it. A plus B. If A is a metal, ang iyang pulihan diri sa BC, si B, kay si B man gid automatically ang metal. So mahimo siyang AC plus B. Given that A has a lesser electron negativity value compared to B. In case number 2, D is a non-metal. So AC, say for example, agit lang kayo ha. Hello sir, good morning. Good morning. Ano to? Lahat? Okay. Pwede ako maghingi ng list kung sino lang yung papuntahin, sir? Email lang siguro, sir. Papuntahin sila sa camp or dito sa school? Pwede sila Google Meet or Zoom. Sige sir, bigyan mo lang ako ng ID, ibibigay ko sa kanila. Okay po. Okay po. Sinabi ko na yun sa kanila, sir. Okay. Salamat. Salamat din. Okay, yung pinsan mo more na. Eksena masyado. Okay, let's go back.
Ano na, ma'am? Ang email na, ma'am, no?
Asa na po tayo, ma'am?
Dito na tayo sa case 2. So,
Okay po.
dito sa case 2, charots, dito sa case 2. So,
Ma'am, wait lang, ma'am.
yes. Ang saman?
Ma'am,
Ha?
ang metal, ang mapuli sa metal lang. Tapos ang mapuli sa non-metal lang.
Oo.
Ma'am.
So, this is not applicable for polyatomic cation or polyatomic anion. Okay? So, D is a non-metal. So, in AC, the non-metal here is the C. So, kay si C man ang non-metal, siya ang pulihan ni D. So, therefore, D will have the place of C given that it must have a higher electronegativity value. So, if higher yung electronegativity value, therefore, pwede niyang ilisan. So, more na siya kung gidiscuss dira sa mga example. So, kanin siya, by the way, nabot na ko. That is single replacement reaction. Let's have the letter D, double replacement reaction. So, kung naay in a relationship, ang isa rin nag-iat-iat, napoy halik diri nga part. So, kinsay nakakita sa salida nga halik?
Nagbaylo.
Oh. Sa halik, si Jericho, yung asawa, nagbaylo partner kay Samuel B. yung asawa. So, we call it double replacement reaction. Or we call it exchange partner. Si partner ng isa, naging partner dun sa isa. So, a reaction in which the positive and the negative ion of two ionic compound exchange places to form new compounds. So, that's why you have AB plus CD yields AD and CD. Nagbaylora sila of places. So, mas dali na siyang lantawon. Now, if you have, in case, like acid plus base, this will have a salt and water. This is what we call a neutralization reaction, where acid reacts to base to form water, because water is neutral when we talk about pH. So, instead of having high pH and low pH, mahimo neutral, ma-zero siya. That's why we call it neutralization reaction. Now, we have combustion reaction. A combustion reaction is a reaction in which a substance reacts with oxygen gas. So, any substance that reacts with oxygen gas, sa iyahang reactant present sa oxygen gas, we call it as combustion reaction. So example, we have here the this is propane. Propane plus oxygen gas yields carbon dioxide and water. So this is what we call burning. Kaya itong sa LPG. So ang actually sa LPG, dagan kaya na siya og kuan, dagan nagsulod. Na methane, na ay ethane, na ay butane, na ay propane, na apoy pentane. Muna 5 ang sulod sa imong LPG gas. Pero katong gagmay, katong butane gas, butane po ang sulod rato. Pero kanina ka-specify siya nga propane lang siya. So we have, bali nagluto ka, di ba, kabantay mo nga, pag magluto ta, tayhupan na to siya. Nganong tayhupan man nato? Kay aron
Carbon.
magdugangan og hangin. Katong hangin ni imong gidugang dito, actually nagdugang kag oxygen. Kung magdugang kag oxygen dito, mas mapaspas ang iyang burning. Muna kung lantawon nimo ng mga mga burner na sila'y mga windows. Para dito sa iyang window mosulod ang hangin. Kung di ka na nimo tarungon og open, ang tendency na kung masubra na pag ka-open, dili mo siga. Kung gamayon na pag nimo open, ang iyang siga yellow-red. Pero kung sakto yung pagka-open sa iyang window, ang color sa iyang siga blue because all the carbon turns into carbon dioxide, all the hydrogen turns into water vapor. So wala siya ash sa lubot sa imong kaldero. So puti ra gyapon ang imong kaldero at the end of the day. Now there are different types of combustion reaction. We have complete combustion. Example of a complete combustion kaning sa taas, where ang imong product lang is the carbon dioxide and water. Incomplete combustion na kay carbon monoxide and also carbon kanang karabitang pareha ng lampara. Kinsay nakatry og lampara?
Me.
Kami, ma'am.
Try gani mo katulog na nag-on ang lampara.
Ma!
Nagkabuntang.
Maglago.
Ano mo si Rodolph the nose reindeer.
Maglago.
Naamog diri. Oh.
Ang ano, ma'am?
Yes. Kanang anuos, manang gitawag na tong carbon. Isa siya sa residue. Kaya wala siya na form ka na ng carbon dioxide and water vapor. Ang uban na himong carbon and carbon monoxide. Mo bitaw nang sasakyanan nakabantay man mo sakay mong sakyanan pag-abot sa imong balay bura mo gisulata bali-balian. Kapoy lawas. Kay tungod fuel, wala siya na burn kaayo tanan. Nahimo siyang carbon monoxide. Makakapoy ni siya sa imong lawas, makaparalyze siya sa imong lawas. Munang sa sakyanan, dili pwedeng mag-off kag engine na naka-on ang imong aircon. Masyotayla ka na. Muna yung nahitabo sa papa. Wala ko'y kwarta. Papa ni Carol Banawa o iyang kuya. Ang iyang papa na paralyzed while ang iyahang kuya namatay gyud kay na poison sa carbon monoxide. There's also a son of a senator before nga iyang gibuhat kay gisuffocate niya iyang kaugalingon sa iyang kwarto, nag-aircon siya.
Unog plant.
Yes, and then napatay siya kay na suffocate. So ingon ana, that is incomplete combustion. Kung tanan gani nga kanang iyang product kay so ang product dili carbon dioxide lang and water, na siya carbon and carbon monoxide, then that is kanang incomplete combustion. We also have smoldering. This form of combustion is low, flameless, and a low temperature combustion undergone by heat involved when the surface of the fuel is directly attacked by oxygen. Kanang hinay-hinay mo call it smoldering. Wala siya kalayo nga na-involved. Kaning duha na kalayo nga na-involved. Rapid combustion. So, rapid meaning pas-pas kayo. So, muna na siya dako kaayo nga kalayo. So, isa na siya saya. Actually, smoldering kay mo ni siya ginagamit po sa decomposition. Mabito nang from ash we are made to ash we return. So, ilalom sa yuta, wala man ta nagsiga. Di ba nagsiga-siga ba ta? Di ba wala, pag mamatay gani ang isa ka organism, di mo na siya masiga. Pero nag-decompose siya. That is what we call smoldering. And then we have spontaneous combustion. It is a type of combustion that occurs through self-healing pursued by thermal runaway and then finally ignition. Then we have turbulent. The result of turbulent flame is mostly utilized for industrial application. Kanang gagamit ng charcoal. Microcombustion is combustion whose combustion processes take place in a very small volumes. So those are the different types of combustion. Now, you do the activity, what am I? Kasi yun na kayo na. Pass it on Monday. And then tell me what you know. And also show me what you know. So, dali na kayo. Next, we will have
Totoo
the
ka lesson,
balancing.
ma'am.
Ha?
Duha ka lesson.
Duha ka lesson. Next, we will have lesson 3. Ano, na-cute akong 3. Na-cute akong numberings. Pati pa akong lesson 1, na-cute. Ni-cute sila. Nga, na-cute na sila. Dagko mo na sila dapat. So, na-cute ang number.
Euler.
So, again, you answer the activities. Next meeting, yes.
I-post ko na. Download na po na
Next
ako,
meeting,
ma'am.
we will have the balancing of chemical reaction. So, goodbye, everyone. Have a nice day. We will meet. Tomorrow, we will not have online class. But I will monitor of your activity. Kung saan na yung nahuman, of course.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wag di na mo mahuman yun.
We will meet on Thursday for lesson 3.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, ayo i-off nga appeal me.
Ano man? I will stop the recording. Goodbye.
Mag-chicha pa.